What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files Ask Nick edition. Happy New Year to you all. It's still 2022 while we're recording this. Amanda still has COVID.
Yeah. The thing is we record so much in one day, so it's going to seem like Amanda had COVID for weeks, but I promise you, we're just very efficient.
We record some of our intros early. Spoiler alert.
What?
It's a new year. I hope it's a new you.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that you have enjoyed your holiday season and you're ready to get back to the daily grind, which is to listen to us.
Yes.
At least 3 days a week.
Amen.
We have an exciting year for you lined up. It's a good month of interviews. Next week we have Justin Baldoni.
Oh.
The actor, also author of Man Enough. He wrote a new book. He talks a lot about masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will be a fun, interesting conversation with Justin. We have the Colpo sisters. Olivia and Aurora join us also this month. We have Taylor Lautner and his wife, Taylor Lautner, with us at the end of the month. And a lot more people. We got Zach's season starting.
Oh, yeah. New Bachelor, Zach Shallcross, January 23rd.
It'll be fun. Good, fun times ahead. We're going to be in a new studio coming up. It's going to be very exciting.
Big changes.
Big changes ahead. It's going to be, wow, you guys are in for a treat. We're going to be working hard.
I was thinking, since we are wrapping up 2022, that I was going to dive into some dating trends, since this is a dating and relationship show. And I wanted to talk about the kind of fine line between knowing what you want and being intentional, or chance being too picky or too closed off, because I do feel like there's a balance.
There is.
You don't want to waste your time, but you also need to be slightly open. But studies are showing that in 2022, people are prioritizing critical thinking over spontaneity in dating, specifically on dating apps. So now fewer daters are just swiping right, quote unquote, just because. So they're not just saying, oh, let's just see. And a dating coach commented, now we're coming to a point in history where self-awareness is at the forefront of conversations, including dating. People are realizing that they need to take their dating lives into their own hands, and that includes dating with more intention. So not even just like, oh, maybe like let's swipe. People are really being particular, even with who they match with, let alone who they go on dates with.
I haven't been on a lot of dating apps recently. How much information do the dating apps give you about someone?
They're getting better. I would say specifically Hinge is starting to create a lot more prompts. Like, I think an important one that they added, I think in the last year, is specifically, what are you looking for? You can say, looking for long term, but open to short, or just looking for casual, or just whatever. I think that's an important question. You can put political beliefs, religious beliefs, and then of course you always have like little question prompts in between your photos. Now there's a voice memo one, so you can hear people's voices. Yeah, so there's definitely a decent amount of information. I mean, obviously you're never going to know unless you talk to someone live and you actually meet them. But I just think, it makes sense. Especially, I talked about this the other day. I've been on dating apps for years. We're now reaching an era of people, like, we've all been trying for a while, specifically on apps. So it makes sense that you wouldn't just want to swipe just because. You're not just going to waste more time.
These trends are things that they talk about. I understand what they're saying. Do I think people should be more intentional with their dating? Of course. The people are being even more particular with their swiping. I'm not so sure that is the fix. It's like, basically we're talking about having more filters, right? The more intentional you are, the more filters you have, the more kind of the non-negotiables you put up, and you're not just there to waste your time, and maybe you're challenging yourself to not focus on just looks as much. That all being said, I just don't know how much you can really learn from someone via text and on a dating app.
Yeah.
And I know I mentioned in my book, by the way, Don't Text Your Ex Happy Birthday. Check it out.
Start your new year right.
It's a great book to start your new year. Anyway, I talk in there about the benefits of like Zoom dates or FaceTime dates. In particular with, people you meet on a dating app. I know when I say this, I get a lot of like looks where people are like, oh, really? Zoom dates? And I get, that's crazy. But why? I don't understand. Like, I think being maybe still more open-ended with people you match with, and then progressing that faster to like a screening process. So to be more intentional, I think you just have to have better filters, better screening processes, because dating can be exhausting, and going on dates and spending money and getting ready and meeting strangers in person is exhausting.
Yeah.
And
so your point is to put more screeners in place.
Somewhere between.
Yeah. Not when you're like swiping and making quick judgments then, but like make it quicker to a Zoom or a quick coffee date where you can actually have data points?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you actually, and even a coffee date, you have to meet someone in person.
Yeah. How funny would it be if I set up like multiple Zoom dates in a row and gave them each like the 40-minute limit that Zoom has and just like move to the next one?
Yes, it doesn't even have to be the 40-minute limit. You create an email address just for your Zoom, just for dating.
Send out a Google Calendar invite.
It's so it's not your actual email address that they would have.
AllieDoesDating@gmail.com.
If people utilize that feature like of setting up Zoom dates, I don't see how it could be a bad thing. I don't see how it could hurt.
Yeah.
You can take breaks from that too, but
normalize Zoom dating.
I think I'm onto something. I'm going to keep pushing it till it takes off. If you're dating on dating apps and you find it to be exhausting, I don't know if being that much more picky with who you match with. I mean, be picky. I'm not saying you should swipe everyone. Being more judgmental on a few pictures or some prompts that people have a limited time to answer. It's just so hard to like sound funny or cool with these voice messages.
Yeah, I will say I did just look because I was thinking to myself, if we could just even eliminate having to do the email, having to do a Zoom meeting. And there is a feature on Hinge in the chat for video. So you could like video chat someone in the app. You would not even have to move them.
Why there are people using that?
I don't know. I've never used it.
If there are people out there who are using Hinge, A, I want to know, do you even know that feature exists? And B, are you using it? And C, if not, which I assume most of you are not, why? Why not?
Yeah, because that just eliminates any need for an email, exchanging phone numbers, getting a Zoom meeting up and running. It's right there. It's secure.
And do you feel the need to, like, if you were to plan a Zoom date, like how much work would you do your makeup?
Yes.
You would get ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would be a response from, I guess, women be like, well, I still don't want to like fucking get ready for all these fucking Zoom dates.
Yeah. I definitely do.
Could you do like Zoom date makeup, which is like it does the job, but it's not the full routine?
Maybe.
And could you put like a beanie or a hat on?
I'm just envisioning like someone on a dating app pulling up a video chat of me and they're just like bald in a beanie, like no hair.
You don't
showing.
think you'd look good with like a winter cap on? I love
all
girls.
my hair up in it.
No, I like Natalie was shopping for like winter hats. I think she looks great in them.
Natalie
really
and
cute.
Amanda have like naturally straight, fine hair. Mine is like the texture of a lion that hasn't met a conditioner.
I don't know if that has to. I don't think that makes you look bad in a hat. I too have.
Will you
hair
buy me a beanie?
I too have hair that looks like.
Should we get matching beanies?
That looks like it was like electrocuted.
Date me on the beanie.
All I'm saying is like, can't you have like
an in between?
A simpler.
To be fair, I haven't touched my hair since Friday.
And I just think no one looks their best on Zoom.
That's true.
Or video chat.
That's true.
And I just don't know if you should spend a lot of energy getting all cute for a Zoom date.
This is me.
I really don't think your makeup routine, and when I say you, I don't mean you. I just
as he stares directly in my eyes.
I think whoever's listening, you look nice.
Oh.
And just
I agree with that. You look nice.
Just don't look like you woke out of bed. But like,
cut your routine in half is what you're saying.
Cut it in half. And I think if there's a connection, he will like you, and vice versa. And if not, you guys will just agree to disagree. But
if he's not into you, it's probably not because of your brows.
I think these video features people have to start utilizing more, or Zoom FaceTime dates or whatever.
I'll make you that resolution. I will use that feature in the new year.
Yeah, let me know if guys are receptive to it.
Okay.
And see what they say.
Great.
Really fast. Like if you match, quick dialogue. Would you ask them to Zoom? Would you?
I always do.
Okay, you do.
Yeah.
So like, hey, I'm going to call you on this feature.
Yeah.
It's a date.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see.
I think that's what people should do more of. I don't think being super picky on bios is going to help people fall in love.
But
more.
you can be picky on the video chat.
You can be pickier for sure. You got to see if there's a banter there.
Yeah. It's very easy to tell.
If you match, you're not going to match with anyone you find unappealing looking. It's a dating app.
Yeah.
The question is like, what more information can you find out? True. Do you get the ick? Do you get a charming vibe? It's so easy to like fuck up via text.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a great show for you. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknickacademy.com, cast with a K. Don't forget we released a new update episode that dropped last week, Wednesday. If you haven't checked that out yet, be sure to do. It's a good one, a definite doozy. So if you missed it over the holidays, go back and check that out. Also, if you finally got into the Harry and Meghan documentary, we cover it in the last few Going Deepers. Be sure to check that out. We have a great week lined up for you. Big surprises ahead. Let's get to our callers. What's the first thing that you do when you wake up? Is it checking up on your credit score? I doubt it.
Actually, I did that on Saturday morning, and my credit score had gone down. And you know what's a great way to build your credit score back up?
Chime. Yeah. Well, also, I mean, Allie is a unique bird. And if you're someone who doesn't check their credit score every morning, don't worry. Because as long as you have a friend in Chime, that's exactly what they do. With their secure Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card, you can start building credit with your own money. So it's very important to have good credit people out there. If you're young, if you want to build credit, this is a great way to do it. And yeah, get your Credit Builder credit card, make some small purchases, pay it off, start building that credit over time. Chime reports your payments to the credit bureaus to help build credit over time. Their members see an increase of 30 points on average.
30 points.
All of this with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. To start your journey with Chime, sign up takes only 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/VIALL. That's chime.com/VIALL. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank, N.A., pursuant to a license from Visa USA. Chime checking account and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply for the secure Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card. Regular on-time payment history can have a positive impact on your credit score. Impact to score may vary, and some users' scores may not improve. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply except at MoneyPass ATMs and a 7-Eleven or any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM. Brushing your teeth is important. I had dinner with my dentist brother the other day. We never brush enough.
We do not.
You're not brushing enough, chances are.
And oftentimes your dental health is very much related to the health of the rest of your body.
Really?
If something's going on, you don't want that getting into your bloodstream.
And you might be missing important parts of your mouth back there, behind your gums or back there. And the thing about the Quip toothbrush gives you all the data you need to let you know if you're brushing properly.
Yeah.
It's a really amazing product. There are time sonic vibrations with 30-second pulses to guide a dentist's recommended 2-minute clean. And lets you get in all the right places. So it pulsates, lets you know when you should move to different spots of your mouth. It's lightweight and a sleek design with no wires or bulky chargers to weigh you down. It has a multi-use travel cover that doubles as a mirror mount for less clutter.
That's the perfect way when you travel. You don't want your toothbrush random places.
I always struggled with that. Yeah. And now it just hangs right there. It's so great. Track and improve your brushing with the free Quip app. It's really great. You really get a lot of knowledge that you really didn't think you even needed, but you really do.
Also, Quip doesn't just have their amazing electric toothbrushes. They have a line of products that gives you your full, complete dental routine. So whether that's toothpaste, they have anti-cavity toothpaste, floss string that expands to clean, reusable floss pick that replaces over 180 disposable picks every refill, refillable gum, refillable mouthwash. They really got you covered.
And they have electric toothbrushes that start at $25. If you go to getquip.com/VIALL right now, you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/VIALL. That's GETQUIP.com/VIALL. Quip, the good habits company.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Jack. I am 33 years old.
How can we help, Jack?
Well, I've recently reconnected with an ex-girlfriend, and we've met up and we talk a lot on Instagram, and I found out she actually has a boyfriend of 5 years, and they live together, but we still message flirtatiously and stuff, and so I guess I'm trying to navigate that, kind of get out of that pickle.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously the easy answer is you could just stop talking to her.
Yeah.
But you seem reluctant to do that. Well, how did the relationship end in the past? How long ago was this ex? How was she your girlfriend?
Yeah, so I was in my early 20s, and I live in Texas now, and we both lived in California. And I mean, we dated for a while. I mean, like 6 months or so. And the friend that set us up, he actually confessed to me that he was in love with her and wanted me to break up with her. And so I kind of was trying to do the mature thing and like prioritize my friend who I had been best friends with for years. And I was like, hey, I mean, my friendship's more important to me.
Wow. So you had a girlfriend and
Yeah.
your buddy said, bro, I'm going to keep it real. I'm in love with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you said, all right, bro,
Yeah.
I'm going to dump her so you can date her.
Sort of, I guess. Well, she said she would never date him. So she was like, before we break up, just like a heads up, that's never going to happen. So everybody was aware that they would not date if we broke up, but he just could not hang out with me dating this girl that I
What?
guess he thought was the love of his life.
This is blowing my mind. What? And then what? Are you still friends with him today?
No.
Yeah, was not surprised
Yeah.
because that's an intense expectation that your friend had of you.
Well, and he's the one that set us up. So I was confused as to kind of why'd you set us up then?
How long were you dating for?
Probably like 6 months.
That's crazy. Anyway, and when you broke up with her, you're like, hey, listen, he loves you, so I gotta be a friend.
Yeah.
She must have been really pissed about that.
I mean, she acted pretty kind of chill about it. Was like disappointed, but was like, yeah, I mean.
How old were you guys?
21. 21,
Okay.
22.
And was it a more casual like relationship? Like, or I mean, like 21-year-old relationships, like if I was saying crazy, me and my girlfriend at 21 were making crazy promises to each other,
Right. Yeah.
Nowadays, things are a little more casual,
Yeah, I mean, we were seeing each other pretty much every day. I don't know. Felt pretty serious, I guess.
And how did she pop back into your life?
So I got divorced a couple of years ago now, and kind of after I got divorced, we reconnected over Instagram. She followed me, but I didn't follow her, and I saw she was like watching my stories or something, so I reached out and was just like, hey.
How long ago was this?
Maybe a year ago.
Okay. And so you have been talking to her for almost a year before you found out she had a boyfriend of 5 years?
Yeah, so we actually met up. So we talked a lot back and forth and reconnected, kind of caught up, and it was flirty, kind of banter, but we live in different states. So I was like, hey, if you're ever around, I'd love to take you out for a drink. Just thinking like, well, that's probably never going to happen, but this is fun, And she was like, well, I'm actually going to be out there in a few weeks. So we met up and hung out, and it was great, but it got really awkward at the end, and she like high-fived me when she left. I was like, all right, well, that was fucking weird. So I gave it a few days, and I texted her and was like, hey, I had a lot of fun, but then it got really awkward at the end, and you like fucking high-fived me. And she was like, oh, what are you talking about? I had a lot of fun too. Just like kind of dismissed the awkwardness.
And it never came up that she had a boyfriend?
No, not when we were hanging out. It was a couple of weeks after.
How did it not come up? They've been together for 5 years and they live together. Was she like my roommate?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, this child.
Yeah.
And when you've been talking, like, are you guys talking on the phone, or is it just like casual text messaging here or there? Like how much interaction has been going on over the past year?
Texting and Instagram DMing.
Is it conversations, or are you just like responding and commenting to each other's posts here or there?
Yeah, conversations, like in-depth conversations. Like we joked about like getting married, and she said she wants to start a family and have kids. And I was like, well, hey, you're with the guy for like 5 years. I'm sure that's coming down the pike pretty soon. She's like, no, I would never marry that guy. I don't want to marry him.
Yeah, so I guess I'm slightly confused by the timeline.
Yeah.
Were you having big conversations and her being flirtatious before you knew she had a boyfriend? How did you find out she had a boyfriend?
Both. She eventually told me.
She told you. Was it after you like called her out for the high five?
Yeah, because we were talking about kind of dating things. She asked me if I was dating anybody, and I was like, oh, just casually here and there, nothing serious. And I asked her how the dating scene was in LA now, and she's like, it's so crazy and whatever, and just kind of not really answering the question. And we kept having this conversation, just, you know, and then it developed into, you know, asking where she lives and all that stuff. And she's like, well, I want to move, but my boyfriend doesn't want to move. And I was like, what's up?
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend? And she's like, yeah, I've got a boyfriend of like 5 years.
She doesn't post all that much.
She doesn't post a lot.
You don't have to go that deep to see a boyfriend, but
To be fair, it's also 4.5
But
years
it's
ago.
yeah, it's from a long ass time ago. She posts a lot on her story, never posts anything about him on her story.
she's cute. She looks fun.
Yeah, she is fun. She was a stand-up comedian for a little while, so she's funny.
Right.
I like funny.
So after you found out that she had a boyfriend, how did you handle it?
I just basically told her like, hey, well, if that ever wraps up, you know, shoot me a message.
And when was that?
A few weeks after we had met up.
How long ago was that?
That was like June or July.
Okay. And then what's the dialogue been going on since then?
Couple of weeks later, she reached out, was being flirty, kind of a thing. And so I, you know, engaged in the conversation for a little bit. And then I was like, so what's up with the boyfriend? She's like, oh, yeah, I still have a boyfriend. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just not that comfortable in engaging, you know.
Yeah, I hear ya.
I got divorced because my wife was cheating on me. So I don't want to be.
Yeah. Well, you are flirting with someone who
Yeah.
is demonstrating questionable character choices. There is that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, yeah, if I'm dating her, how do I know she's not doing the same thing to me?
I couldn't, I mean, who knows what conversation she's had. I can't imagine the boyfriend would be thrilled that she's telling you that she's never going to marry him.
Right.
And who knows? Maybe you said they live in LA. Maybe they have some sort of non-traditional partnership.
Maybe.
But probably not.
Yeah, I've asked her for some like clarity on the situation. Not that I'm not in the relationship, so I don't know how much she owes me as far as clarity, but she sent me messages and then unsends them before I can read them. So I'm like, oh.
She does.
Okay.
Some suspicious behavior.
75% of our messages she has unsent.
I don't like that.
75?
I don't like that
She's
at
a little
all.
shady. She's a little shady.
Are you sure you like would even want to be with someone who's that shady?
I mean,
If she's doing this when she's with him,
This is a very exciting thing. There's a lot of things that I get why it's keeping you interested. It's a girl from your past who you have this really bizarre breakup story that kind of left you wanting more potentially, right?
Yeah.
Just by her Instagram, she seems like it wouldn't shock me if she's very charismatic and fun.
Yeah.
And maybe a little selfish. But who knows? I don't know her at all. I'm actually basing the selfishness off of the fact that she's messaging you while having a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Which means that you're meeting some needs that her boyfriend's not.
Right.
And, you know, she's getting into the emotional cheating territory. She's probably already in the emotional cheating territory. But like, that her high five is like her being like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just meeting a friend.
we always say though with emotional cheating, it's like your conscience telling you if she's unsending the messages, she knows she's in that territory.
Yeah.
Does she know anything about your past?
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about it a lot.
How you've been cheated on?
Yeah.
Oh.
What does she have to say about that?
Just thought it was super fucked up and talked about how loyalty is like number one to her and whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. Kind of feels like maybe not.
Well, here's the thing. You got a couple options as I see it. My first thought is like, listen, you're not kind of like your old best friend. You know, you love who you love. And well, I don't think you should be a home wrecker. Yeah. I don't think, as far as you are concerned, from like morally or like a character choice, I wouldn't have a problem with you shooting your shot with her.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, you've built this rapport, and I think you shooting your shot would have to recognize her situation, which is like, and you have to call it out and just be like, hey, we've been talking, like, this has been kind of confusing for me. I didn't even know you have a boyfriend. Based on the fact that you told me you'd never want to marry him, I'm just like, I don't know what you say. I would need some time. But it's kind of like, this sounds crazy, and I'm not saying anything. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's you shooting your shot saying, if you were single, I would really be interested. And it sounds like you kind of alluded to that, because like, well, hey, let me know. But I think it's more like, I've really grown to like you,
Yeah.
but I don't want to I have been cheated on, and I don't think either of us. I hope that neither of us want to do something that we regret and makes us feel bad about our choices and how I don't even know this guy, but I don't want to be a part of that. But
Right.
I also don't think we should keep talking.
Right.
As long as you're in this situation, not based off of anything you're doing, but because I know that I don't think of you as just my pal. I'm just be honest with her. I know I want you to break up with him. And that alone makes me feel very bad about us having any type of relationship knowing you're in a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Because
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
You could say that.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Hungry Root. Can I get another box?
Keep going.
This is the song that I made about Hungry Root. They gave me some fun tacos and I sauteed some meat and peppers in the same time because they were chopped up and ready to go into the tortillas and they were very delicious. And Amanda likes the chickpea cookie dough and they have some brownie batter as well. Everything is healthy and comes straight to your door and then you got hungry and you need a little more. Hungry.
Well, anyway, for all the people out there who want to eat healthy, who are busy, who, either don't like to cook, can't cook, or just don't have the time to do it, or just, they also have no time to shop for the right ingredients, Hungry Root has you covered in all those departments. And it's delicious.
Delicious and nutritious.
How do you get started? You take your fun quiz?
Yeah.
Tell us about your glowing experience.
So Hungry Root is great because I end up just buying the same ingredients every time I go to the grocery store and whipping up the same stuff over and over. But you can go to Hungry Root, you can put in, any dietary restrictions you want. They're great. Vegan, vegetarian, if you are a pescatarian, if you're dairy-free, soy-free. They have all these options so everything is safe for you to eat. Take your quiz and you get to select a gift for the quiz. So you can either do free veggies of the week for the rest of eternity. You can do the almond chickpea cookie dough, which, Amanda's obsessed with. I got these amazing tacos, which were super fun. But yeah, just a lot of fresh ingredients already pre-portioned. Like I mentioned, the peppers and onions were already cut up. I feel like that's half the battle is preparing your ingredients. Yeah. And it was ready to go.
They make it super easy. It's delicious, and it's made with the highest of ingredients. Right now, Hungry Root is offering the Viall File listeners 30% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/VIALL to get 30% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. That's hungryroot.com/VIALL. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. Helix Sleep, the greatest mattress in the world. It truly is amazing.
It's probably the one reason you don't want to go home for the holidays. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it is.
You don't want to leave your bed.
I have the best mattress in the world, and it's the Moonlight.
Yeah.
They have 14 unique mattresses, including a collection of luxury models and mattresses for big and tall sleepers, even a mattress made just for kids. So whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, stomach sleeper, you sleep hot, you sleep cold, Helix Mattress has a mattress for you. And again, I say this all the time. If you've ever listened to me talk about Helix Sleep, it's truly the most incredible mattress. They're amazingly affordable. They don't require a box spring. Plus, they are been constantly recognized for the best mattress on the market. The number one mattress picked by GQ and Wired magazine multiple times. They have a 10 or 15-year warranty depending on the model. They give you 100 nights risk-free. You can sleep on it for 100 nights.
What?
You get a full refund, but you won't.
That's crazy.
If you've listened to this show, if you are someone in the market for a mattress and you're getting anywhere than Helix Sleep, then I don't know what you're doing. You're making poor decisions. I'm sure your local mattress company or whatever, I don't know. It's so much easier with Helix Sleep. I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure their mattresses are adequate. But there's no way it's more comfortable than a Helix mattress. It's just not possible.
It's a rare to find something that's so high quality and so great that isn't completely going to break your bank.
You can spend so much on a mattress.
So much money.
They're so affordable relative to other mattresses. I love it. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. So go to helixsleep.com/VIALL. With Helix, better sleep starts now. And maybe you don't even shoot that's how you shoot your shot.
Okay. Yeah.
If next time, wait for her to reach out, and then you could say, "Hey, listen, do you talk on the phone ever?"
Yeah, sometimes.
All right. Then maybe you could be like, "Hey, do you have a second? I think you should do this over the phone." And just say, "I was thinking about stuff," and you don't know this already, but I like you, and I really enjoyed talking to you, and it's been kind of confusing for me because it was confusing to find out you had a boyfriend, and I'm trying to distance myself, but I've grown to like you. But I do know that like I find myself hoping you break up with him. And I actually feel bad about that because I don't want to be in the middle of this. You know, I don't know him, but I've been him before.
Right.
And you can, maybe that's all you have to say. And so I'm just very careful about making sure I'm not a part of something that happened to me.
Yeah.
I want, because I don't want you to accuse her.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but you could just say like, it's more about you. I'm just hyper aware about the possibility of, I don't want to wrong anyone. And again, it's because of how I feel about wanting you to break up with him, I don't think we should talk anymore. Maybe she needs to hear that from you to like leave this relationship.
Right.
Either way, I think you have you asked her some tough questions? Have you ever broached the subject about like the inappropriateness of your relationship?
Yeah. And those are some of the messages that get unsent before I can read them.
How do you know that?
Because I'll get a notification that she sent a message back after I ask, and then I go to open it.
Oh, well, what have been your questions?
Just like, why is she still talking to me if she has a boyfriend? Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, you have done that.
Yeah.
She sends a message, then unsends it, and then waits a period of time, creates some distance between you two, and then reaches back out.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if she's mad because she's mentioned to me before about like how, our breakup situation before. And she's like, well, I didn't think you liked me that much when we first dated because you broke up with me. And I was like, well, yeah, this is,
Well, first of all, like she can't use that as an excuse. She needs to decide what she wants to do with this guy or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like you don't want her leaving him for you per se.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure on me.
If
she did, yeah.
You can say like, if you told me you were happy in this relationship, then I would just like leave it alone and just accept it and just move on and just say, hey, misconnection. But I can't help but feel this because of the things you told me. But at the same time, I find myself wanting you to break up with him. And I don't know. That's all I can say. You can only work with what you have.
Yeah.
That's for her to decide. But like and maybe these messages she's unsending have something like that in there. But like, it's kind of neither here nor there. That
drives me insane.
That's something you guys would talk about after she left this relationship and had a clean slate, because you don't know if she's a fit and you don't know if you should be talking. Yeah. And there's a good chance that you're just a fun blast from the past. She's just enjoying having this little weird dynamic with you.
This weird banter kind of.
Yeah, that's what I think you should do. Like, next time she reaches out, be like, hey, can we talk on the phone? If she says yes, great, then have the conversation over the phone. If she says, if you ask her to talk on the phone, she might be, since you already tried to bring this up, she might try to avoid it.
Yeah.
And then if she says, oh, I can't right now, just be like, all right, well, I've just been thinking, because, spoiler alert, I think about you a lot. Say that. I mean, what do you have to say? But I find myself hoping you break up with him. Yeah. And knowing that, I don't think we should we should keep talking like this. If your situation changes, please, I hope I'm your first call.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep doing this for everyone's sake. And if she ends up breaking up with him, then, you have the right to dig more. It's some conversation around like, listen, like relationships are complicated and hard and like we're only human, but like it definitely made me uncomfortable knowing that you were talking to me and had a boyfriend. And, as someone who's been cheated on, I want to understand what you were thinking, because listen, if we ever dated, I'm assuming, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm someone who's just like, just fucking tell me whatever it is. I'd rather just give me a chance to not care or whatever. Yeah. I promise you, I won't lose my fucking shit.
If you're upfront and honest about it, then we can just have.
I'll be sad. I'll be disappointed. Yeah. But this is a safe space.
Yeah.
Just talk to me. But I don't ever want to find out that if I'm not meeting your needs, that you're getting your needs met elsewhere, because that is what she's doing. You are meeting certain needs that he is not.
Right.
And because he doesn't know that you exist, and if he does, I'd be curious if he knows that you exist. It's not the full truth. That much I know. And I don't know what's worse. I would rather just have her completely omit you from existence rather than pretend that you're some pal or my ex-boyfriend
Yeah.
who is just a friend. And you are just friends and nothing's ever happened, but it's getting into a gray area for you. She's justifying it. That's how these kind of emotional cheating situations, it's always kind of with the best intentions.
Yeah.
But she's saying things she shouldn't say to you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So even if they break up, you need to proceed with caution because you don't want to be him in a few years.
She's got some red flags for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, she does have a couple of red flags, I guess.
Yeah. And maybe just say that. Like, I bet you have some red flags too. What are, if you have a conversation about, an honest conversation, if you are trying to peel back concerns about someone, it's always best to lead with like, hey, these are things I'm working on. Or do you have things about me so that it doesn't feel like an attack? Like, can we talk about this? Because like it just made me feel insecure and I just don't want to feel that way, and see how she responds to you being vulnerable with an insecurity.
Yeah.
Does she make you feel worse for it and make it seem like it's a you problem, or does she try to work through it with you?
Yeah. Okay.
Lots of red flags.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think she's going to break up with him.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for like a year, I guess, so.
I had a situation kind of like this.
Yeah.
A lot of different. This is very unique, but it was someone who like it was a misconnection. We never were just single at the same time. There are other variables at play.
Yeah.
And I finally had to tell him to stop calling me, because it was like, this is how I feel. And like, let me know if things change, but like, please stop reaching out to me, because it felt very selfish. And it felt like this person would reach out to me. Like, they'd always make it seem like they were checking in on me, but like, it wasn't that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've told her like, hey, I get excited when you reach out to me and we have conversations and stuff. Like I feel excited about you, and I don't want to feel that way if you've got a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So, and she was like, okay, yeah, that's fair. And then we didn't talk for like a week, and then she's texting me and messaging me and stuff again. And I'm like, I mean,
yeah, I think you just need to hold a harder line and just say, hey, listen, like,
I tend to be a little not as hard with my boundaries, I guess, as I should be. I define them, but I don't hold them.
Well, and I think maybe there's a pattern here, right? And if you can name that you're not good at enforcing your boundaries, I think people sense that.
Yeah.
And while it's not your fault your ex-wife cheated on you, and it's certainly not your fault she's doing it this way, but you're creating a space that is inviting to people who make these types of choices, and you're too late in the game to like enforce these boundaries. So you're allowing her to make these justifications and hang out with you because she's not fucking you and things like that. And you're not hooking up, but like she is justifying her conversation with you, and she's not calling it emotional cheating. And meanwhile, you're not really enforcing any boundaries. So you're creating this very safe environment for this type of activity. So when you really shut it down and be like, hey, listen, with all due respect, you can't do this. Like I had to, in my situation, be like, you got to stop calling me. It's selfish, Yeah. And I think you're great and you're amazing. And if things change, let me know. But like, this isn't fair to me, and it's not fair to other people involved. So like you're better than this. And just tell her, like, I think you're a great person. And I think you're better than this. Like, give her some tough love.
Okay.
And see how she responds to that.
Okay.
But you practicing and enforcing your boundaries, if it doesn't work out with this person, I think is maybe something you need to really work on in general.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Be the, and I think you will attract maybe a different quality of person. Yeah. Don't be, you seem like you're a good looking guy. You seem great.
Thanks.
Like you probably have a lot going for you. Like, don't be afraid to enforce those. Like we don't enforce our boundaries because we're afraid that people won't like us if we do that. But enforce your boundaries. See who likes you then. Those are the people who are safe to have around. And you attracting people because you're not enforcing your boundaries attracts the wrong people. Enforce the boundary. See if she responds to that, and then go from there.
Okay.
All right. Take care, man. Keep us posted for sure.
Yep, will do.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. Thanks. You too. Bye.
How's it going?
Good. How's it going?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Evie, age 32.
How can we help, Evie?
Yes. So I am recently engaged, and main part of my planning for the wedding is if I'm going to have my mom walk me down the aisle instead of my dad,
Okay.
who has not really, though he's present in my life, my mom plays a bigger role to me than he does, I guess, in that sense. But the biggest problem with it is that he is kind of petty and immature. And I just know that if I have my mom walk me down the aisle instead of him, there's a big chance he may not show up for the wedding, which would possibly mean I would end up ending my relationship with him.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's tough. So obviously you're closer with your mom than your dad. Why are you thinking about doing this specifically? Because I ask that only because, well, I get the gesture, obviously, because you're close with your mom and you have a better relationship with her. So like at face value, that makes sense. That being said, I mean, I'm assuming there's a lot of ways to show your mom like the love that you have for her, so to speak. Where like obviously like a father walking his daughter down the aisle for those traditional people can be a very meaningful thing. Right. And even if hasn't been the best father, I guess you just have to decide what your priorities are. It comes down to this, because my first answer is like, it's your wedding, do what you want. Then my second, thing I would say is, well, what are your priorities for all the relationships you have in your life? You just said you think your dad being a little petty, this could affect, he might not show up, and for all intents and purposes, might like severely damage the relationship. Mm-hmm. And then you have to ask yourself, do you care?
Yes, mainly because he's getting up in age and he does not take care of himself. You just never know, like something could happen, and then I would hate to know that happened on bad terms.
What's your relationship with how often do you communicate with your dad now?
I mean, honestly, it's maybe once a month, and it's almost obligatory. Like he listens as long as he cares to, I guess.
You don't feel like he's all that interested in what you're doing?
Right. Yeah. He's actually more interested in what my fiance is doing.
Okay. Something.
Is part of this, I know in your email that you wrote that like he was pretty abusive during your childhood.
He was abusive. He was verbally abusive towards my mom. Okay. And because I'm so close to her and because she has been just such a great example to me, I think anytime anybody even says something rude to her in a parking lot, I get extra angry and want to protect her. So yeah, I do think that a big part of it is like how he was when I was younger, how he hasn't really earned.
Have you talked to him about this stuff?
I try to, but it's so difficult. He does not see these problems. He does not self-reflect. He refuses to do that. He thinks he's always right about everything. And anytime anything too emotional comes up, he kind of stops it. Gotcha.
Have you ever said to him flat out, like, well, if you do, I mean, like, I'd love a closer relationship with you? Because, like, I mean, when you say, I guess, like, right or wrong, I think it just comes down to trying to have a better relationship with someone. Mm-hmm. And I guess I wonder if you put yourself out there, like, when you say right or wrong, like, what do you mean? Like, he's never wrong about what? Like, what are these topics
so
he's never wrong about?
He just doesn't see it. If I'm like a long time ago, I went through therapy and was telling him that a lot of the stuff I talked about in therapy was him because I've had a lot of daddy issues from him, and he just refuses to understand that. He's like, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I don't really know what to tell you, is what he'll say. Like, he won't take ownership, I guess.
No, I get that. Yeah. But I guess what if, do you need him to take ownership, I guess, is my question. I mean, no, it's nice. I mean,
yeah. I think on like a deeper level, I think it would be nice to have him take ownership, because then it almost feels like he's seeing me finally, and I guess I would get validation. So on like a prideful level, then yeah, it would be.
It's a tough situation. I know a lot of people in very similar situations as you, mm-hmm. and you're probably never going to get exactly what you want out of this. Right. You know, like you said, your dad is kind of who he is. He's up there in age. He's a stubborn old goat, so to speak, you know? Mm-hmm. And if you think you said his health isn't great?
Not really. Like, he doesn't really tell me a lot because he knows that I'll get worried. Yeah. But I mean, I know that he's got just, your typical high blood pressure and all of that stuff. No diseases, thankfully. But that
when you talk to your dad, it sounds like obviously you wish he would show more interest in what you're doing. Do you ask him a lot about what he's doing and show an interest in him?
Yeah, whenever they call, my stepmom and him call, he'll ask. Well, he will sometimes ask what's up, what's been going on. But then, yeah, I'll ask anything new. What are you doing? How's work?
I think the best you can do in these situations is just kind of take what you can get, because it just comes down. It's real simple. Do you want a relationship with your dad or not? Right? And
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not the only. I know a lot of people very close to me who have to deal with stuff like this, and it's tough. And I see it in families. I don't know how. Do you have siblings? You. Yeah.
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest. And what's your other siblings' relationship with your dad?
My sister normally gets along with him really well, and then my brother is the favorite. We all know he's the only guy. He was an Eagle Scout. He was in the Marines. Went to Iraq. Doesn't do anything wrong. Never gave him trouble. So. My dad, I can see, try to be more engaged in him and do more with him.
And so do you feel like your relationship with your father is a little bit worse than theirs?
Yes, 100%.
Why do you feel that way?
We've talked about it in the siblings. My sister and I have spoken before that she feels more comfortable going to our dad about her personal problems. And I feel a lot more comfortable. Anything remotely inconvenient happens to me, I call my mom.
So she doesn't feel as close with your mom?
Correct. Yeah. My feelings for my dad are her feelings for my mom. Only my mom is very involved with her. She tries so hard.
Maybe that can help you, right? I come from a large family, if you don't know that. And I have other friends and people close to me who have, other siblings. And the dynamics are always kind of funky and different. And I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I just find it interesting that your sister is the opposite of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you experience in your childhood obviously is different than what she experienced in her childhood. And obviously that's playing a role in your feelings towards your parents now. And now as an adult, you're learning how your parents are stubborn people and sensitive people and defensive people, just like we all can be at times. So I don't know. I just think, especially with your dad, I don't know if it's really worth it. How meaningful is it to you to have your mom walk you down the aisle? Or is it more of a fuck you to your dad? I don't know.
No, it's definitely not a screw you to him, because just the idea of telling him that I would have her do it over him gives me just the most anxiety. It's really more of she's been my rock my whole life. She's been the supportive one. She's the one who's always there for me and always showed me love. So I just feel like she earned that more than him.
Couldn't you express that in a way, at a speech or something at the wedding? You'll sit up, you'll stand up, and you're like, I just want to thank my mom, and I just want to thank my parents, my dad. But you say some benign, nice things about your dad. But when it comes to your mom, you give a little extra. You have been my rock, and you say some very specific, nice things about your mom that you don't say about your dad. And not that you say anything bad about your dad. You're just like, hey, Dad, I love you. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Mom, I love,
Yeah.
But I also, you said in your email, you don't want to just have him walk you down the aisle so he doesn't throw a temper tantrum. You know what I mean? Which I totally agree with. You don't I can see it both ways. It's not a fuck you to dad, but it's so now he should just be able to do whatever he wants on her wedding day because she doesn't want him to throw a temper tantrum and not come.
Listen, life's full of choices and tough choices, but we are dealing with obviously an old guy, and I'm guessing he might be traditional, at least more than you, And being a father and having a daughter getting married and walking down the aisle is kind of a big deal to a lot of dads, even the bad ones,
Yeah.
Yeah. What's a bigger priority? Your wedding day and your mom walking you down the aisle, or just your overall relationship with your dad and really hurting him and having it be, and doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those situations where you kind of have to be the bigger person or be empathetic in a way that he's not willing to be, and be okay with that, but being the bigger person's a good thing, so I know sometimes we're annoyed by it and we're frustrated and we kind of wish other people would be the bigger person. But someone else being the bigger person implies that you're kind of, it's your turn to throw the pet temper tantrum or be the, the petty one or something like that, right? So I'm not telling you what to do. It's just more, I just feel like there's other ways to show your mom how much she means to you and how grateful for you are for the relationship you have with her that doesn't include a simultaneous fuck you to your dad. Even if you don't mean it that way, that's how it's going to feel towards him.
Yeah.
And if you know it's going to be some really difficult thing, I feel like there's other ways to show your appreciation to your mom without simultaneously really disrupting this already fragile relationship with your dad that you want to have. And if he is like, getting older and his health isn't great, it's just one of those things when, not to get morbid, but if your dad was stage 4 cancer and had 6 months left to live, would that change your decision?
Yes and no. Yes, because it's like, oh, well, I guess he needs to do this one last thing. But then I'm also kind of like rationally, would he even be able to? But I get where you're going with
Let's
that.
assume
And
he could totally walk down the aisle physically, but you just knew his time was limited.
I would say, yeah, that would. Then I would be doing that strictly for him.
Well, you are, make no mistake, you are doing this for him. Yeah, this is a sacrifice you're making on your wedding day. You're not doing it for you. You would rather have your mom. We know that, right?
Right.
Have you thought about having both parents walk you down the aisle?
So one of my friends actually suggested that, and I was like, that never even crossed my mind just because we don't do dual things with them. So it was a thought. It's definitely a thought.
And if you don't, maybe if you don't want it to have like them both to be on either side of you at the same time, like having your mom walk you halfway down and then your dad standing up and then walking you the final way, like splitting. I think there's like multiple ways to split it up where maybe you could then kind of appease dad while also like honoring what feels like really authentic to you, which is like having your mom there.
Right. Yeah.
How do you think your dad would handle that?
I don't know. Probably a lot better than just him not doing it at all, but
yeah, and then you can make it more about like, hey, I just want mom to be a part of this too. Like, this is something unique I want to do. I want to try, and I just want you both to be a part of it. I'm a big believer it's your wedding day, do what you want. So ultimately, there's that. But I also think when it comes to managing relationships with family, I think it's really important to always try to be the bigger person. Time's limited, life's short. You want a relationship with your dad. Most of our relationships with our parents are imperfect, and they continue to be as we get older.
Right. Yeah. It's something that's very difficult getting in as you get older, like you just said, noticing their toxic traits. And I'm used to any sign of toxicity in somebody, I cut them out completely.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for me to not cut him out.
Well, I think you just got to get good at setting boundaries and enforcing them. And you can do that without cutting people out. Sometimes we cut people out because we don't know how to enforce boundaries. We don't know.
It's just easier to just...
Yeah, it's just easier. It's just less work. But this is your dad, right? With friends, you're like, fuck it. It's not worth it. I'm not related to you. Like, who cares? I have found with... more just with people I know and family and in life, that when it comes to family, it's just any amount of interactions of love that you can exchange with those people are always valued for a long time. And sometimes we lose the people we love with resentment still lingering and unspoken words of love having not been expressed, and anger and things like that when we don't have the opportunity anymore. And we don't want to live with that type of regret and things like that. And you never know, you never know. Your relationship with your dad could improve to a point where you would regret not having him be a part of that experience of you walking down the aisle.
That's a good point.
Unless you're really against it, I think you're better off figuring out a way to include him, whether it's having him do it and then showing your mom a different way through other gestures or at some sort of speech, or just doing something unique. It's your wedding. You can be creative with various things.
Well, and also you're going to have some moments with her too, like even if they're not in the public eye, for example, like getting ready in the morning, like why don't you get her a very specific gift or card or something to give her in the bridal suite? Ask her to be the one to put you in your wedding dress. You have all those photos. I don't know if you're doing a videographer, but like there's a lot of mother-daughter moments that are inherently built into the day because typically your dad isn't getting ready with you. So you'll also have all those moments as well.
Yeah. Also, you have to keep in mind too, like there are intimate moments that are between you and whoever. That's private. No one needs to know about it. And there are public moments at a wedding, like walking down the aisle. And in fairness, like, well, again, your dad might be a prick. I don't know. But you will be raising questions at your wedding as to why your dad isn't walking you down the aisle and your mom. I mean, that's drama potentially
That's
too.
true.
And then he gets defensive and puts him on the spot, or why is your dad not at the wedding, type of thing if he's not walking you down the aisle. So unfortunately, you have to deal with something that you don't want to deal with on your wedding, and that sucks, and I'm sorry. But I do think there are ways to work with what you have. And if it makes you feel better, I think a lot of families deal with shit like this. You're not alone in that. So try not to like beat yourself up or feel bad about like, oh, this sucks that I have to deal with this on my wedding. I think a lot of people have to deal with things on their wedding, but you can still make the most of it, and you can make it fun, and you can figure out a way to make the people you want to feel special and appreciated for all the love they gave you, and reduce the amount of drama or hurt feelings or making someone feel outed in front of their community of family and friends as to like why your dad was not given the honor to walk you down the aisle.
Yeah, no, those are great points. This is why I reached out to you.
All right.
Because I knew you'd give a different perspective I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, just some things to consider. But I would sit down and think of ways that you could honor your mother in the way that you want her to feel honored, in other ways at the ceremony. It's your wedding. You could do whatever you want. You can have a special moment separate at the reception or before. Literally do whatever you want. But when it comes to like walking you down the aisle, obviously that's like a staple, and it's something that fathers really value. Maybe this is a way to bring you closer with your father by saying, I want you to walk you down the aisle, and I hope I always want to feel closer to you,
Right.
And I think if you just express to your dad how you always want to be closer with him, hopefully that will make him want to be closer with you too. And it sounds like you've never actually done that. And not that you're wrong in therapy to express your frustrations and anger towards your dad, but saying, I want to be closer with you, and saying, I went to therapy and I've kind of like realized you fucked me up. He's going to respond two different ways. And I'm not saying you were wrong for saying that, but it might be nice to get your dad to say these things. It might be just as nice to just have a relationship with your father in general and feel like he's gotten to know you and feel like he sees you become the woman that you're becoming, and just focus on that rather than the past. Easier said than done, I get, but I have just found that people who are able to do that tend to be just happier. And it doesn't mean they don't have disappointment with their parents at times. Parents are disappointed in their kids all the time. They still love them, like a lot of parents, their kids make choices they didn't want for their kids, and so be it. And your dad's making choices you don't want for him or you, but sometimes we just have to accept that when it comes to family. As long as you are healthy and safe and
Okay.
all right.
So cut him a little bit of a slack.
Yeah, I mean, for everyone's sake, keep in mind, cutting him slack might just overall have you have a better wedding. There's a sense that if you have him not do this, as much as you have the opportunity to honor your mother, it's going to be something you're going to be worrying about leading up to the wedding. It's going to be something you're going to be thinking about at the wedding. If your dad's not, you know what I'm saying? It's going to become an emotionally taxing experience. And I think you can honor your mother in different ways that's less emotionally taxing on you and doesn't like make your day about your dad not being there.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. I hadn't looked at any of that really. That makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Well, glad we could help, and keep us posted on what you decide and how the wedding goes. When's the big date?
We don't have one set yet, but it's probably going to be like around November.
Awesome. Well, you have some time. You also have plenty of time. This is great. And in the meantime, maybe focus on mending this relationship with your father. Not mending it, and maybe mending's the wrong word because it might not be mended the way you want it, but maybe try to grow your relationship with your father within the boundaries that you have set for yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa. How old are you?
I'm 25.
How can I help?
So basically, my fiance and I got engaged in July this past summer, and I have two friends that are coming basically out of the woodworks after I got engaged, even though I kind of distanced myself from them over these past few years because of how negative they are, toxic, unsupportive of my relationship from the jump. And now they're trying to come back and hang out with me, even though they seem like nothing is wrong. And I don't really know what to do.
Interesting. So why did you you sound like you said they didn't support the relationship, but can you give me more specifics around why you distance yourself?
Yeah. So When I first started dating my now fiance a few years ago, it was about a year after I got out of like a really shitty relationship. This relationship was like 10 times better. I was so happy. I was, so excited to introduce them to him and everything and get to know them because, he was very social, completely opposite of my ex. When I was like, I would love for you guys to meet him and like get to know him because he would love to get to know you. I see a future with him. They were just like, no, like we're friends with you. Like we're not friends with them. Like, why do we have to get to know him? And I was just very honest from the jump. And I was like, this is someone I see a future with. Like, you guys are my best friends. If there is a future here, which now there is, obviously, I want you guys to be involved. And you're my best friends. So if you're not involved. So at that point, I just started to kind of hold back a little bit. And they just didn't understand why. I think they had a different mindset. They were like, we have boyfriends. You don't know them. And I was like, well, I'd love to know them if you let me know them, but it's just very different and just kind of stuck in their like toxic high school ways, I guess. And I was just polar opposite. Like they went away to school. I stayed home. I commuted. I worked. I did everything like that. And they kind of didn't support that either. They wanted me to like move out of state. It was just very kind of judgy, negative, giving me advice when I didn't ask for it, which I always hear you say, like, don't give people advice if they don't ask for it.
Yeah.
And I was very happy with my life. And then they kind of just jumped in and tried to take control, which was never asked for.
So you stepped away, you got some distance, like how much, like no communication whatsoever?
No communication. One of them lives away, out of state. One lives in state. And the one who lives in state was kind of starting to come back more, like asking to go to dinner and stuff here and there. And I would just to kind of feel out the reins. But like they're the two close friends. Like if us three were hanging out, like I was the third wheel, they were really close. But still, I just felt very anxious and I had to always watch what I was saying because I always felt like I was going to be judged or talked about afterwards. So no really communication.
And when you're at these like recent dinners with the one friend, it sounds like you just kind of sat there and observed. Did you really open up about how you felt about things?
We had a talk a few years ago, which was before I got into, or right after I got into the relationship, basically being like, I don't appreciate you guys telling me how to live my life. I've never complained about my life. I'm happy here. I don't appreciate you judging, explaining the whole thing with, my now fiance. And she was just like, okay, well, that's just how I am. So I was like, okay, well, I don't appreciate that. And I don't want that. So to me, to be a good friend, like, I just want you to be supportive of me, be happy for me. But during these dinners, I would kind of feel it out to see if anything changed. And I felt like it did. But then we all got together a few months after we got engaged. And it was just kind of like back into the old ways. And I was like,
How so? What do you mean? What do you mean?
So basically they came over my apartment, which they hadn't seen, which another thing, me and my fiance got an apartment last year. And I told them, and all they were asking questions was like, oh, where, how much, why, I thought you wanted to buy a house, all of this stuff. And I was like, let's just say like, congrats, I'm so happy for you, versus like judging. So they ended up coming here. And right off the bat, it was grilling me with questions about my wedding, basically asking what they should wear, never asked how my fiance was, never asked how I was doing, demanded they see my dress, all of this stuff. And I was just like, oh, what? Like, how are you? I haven't seen you guys in 2 years. We haven't hung out. We haven't caught up. We haven't talked. And now I'm just being drilled with wedding questions, which, to be honest, I don't even want you guys at.
Why call in? Like, what's the reason for trying to? Because it sounds like the obvious answer is to, like, I don't know, just not have them be friends.
Yes. My question, because I know it's going to come up. As of now, I feel like in their heads, they're like, we've been friends with you forever. We talked about our weddings forever growing up. We're going to be invited. When we got together, I never said you're not invited. I kind of just would go along with it. So my question is, they're very confrontational people. So when they realize that they're not getting an invite or save the
So
date,
you've already decided.
I've talked about it with my fiance. I was on the fence and I'm just like, no, I want people there who have been supportive of our relationship. Sorry. Like I'm over that. I'm over the friendship. Like I've decided that.
Okay.
I don't know what to say, basically, when they do confront me about why aren't we invited? I thought everything was good. Where to go from there?
Say how you feel.
Okay.
What do you have to lose? You say you're done, right? You've already mentally moved on. You're not even calling here to be like, should I invite them? What should I do? Should I rekindle it? You're not.
I'm also, I guess, kind of think, because we have been friends for so long, but I always wonder, like, should I? But then, like, we get together and I'm like, oh, I can't. Like,
Friends, people come and go in our lives. People break up with each other. Friendships end. They're not the, like, romantic relationships aren't the only ones that end. People evolve and move on. Your priorities change. Some people mature, some people don't. Some people realize that their friendships, you see people for who they really are after a certain period of time because of certain situations. You can be friends with people, become roommates, and be like, oh, wow, not friends anymore. And like. Being friends back in high school or college sometimes was all about like meeting boys or liking the same bar or like same musician, because you're all like Taylor Swift fans or whatever. Right. That's sometimes all it takes. You all watched The Bachelor and you talked about it, and so now you're friends, and like you all were single and like, oh, I guess we're friends. And then, as you get older, you notice certain things like you're noticing about them. And it's not fitting into the life that you chose for yourself. It sounds like you were open to it, but yeah, from what you're describing, what would your friends say if we were calling them up? If we called them in, and what would they say about your situation? Do you think, or about this criticism?
I think they wouldn't think anything was wrong with it, because that's just, I guess, how they've always been. And I guess through high school, like growing up, high school, college, we kind of just all hung out. Like, it was who I got along with. It is what it is, and that's just how they are. So I don't think they think anything is wrong with it, because they would say they're unfiltered. They're outgoing. They'll say what they want. But
yeah. I mean, and they have the right to be unfiltered, but people have to recognize that if they don't want to filter themselves, people will filter them by disassociating themselves with them. They'll not be invited. If you're like a social liability, then you can be like, hey. I'm a big personality. I say what I think and feel all the time, but I have to recognize that there's a time and a place for that. And like, if I can't just always be like, well, this is who I am, Sure, I can always be myself, but then people have the right to like uninvite me, if I choose to adjust. So how do you go about it? I mean, like, you could write a letter. You could do that. You could just write an email to both of them and just say, hey, listen, I just thought I wanted to reach out to you guys.
Yeah, I wonder if it could be like, I wanted to reach out to acknowledge a disconnect, because when we hung out, it seemed like you guys presumed you'd be invited to my wedding, but I feel like this friendship is no longer in a place where that was my plan. I didn't want you to feel like shocked, or like, I don't know if there's kind of like you want to hear it from me.
There's no perfect way. Like a letter versus like calling them up. You're going to articulate yourself better, most likely, in a letter, because usually with these types of things, you'll go in with a plan of what you want to say, and then it will quickly become contentious, and then you'll start responding to what they say rather than getting everything out that you want. Right. So there's that. But it's real kind of simple. It's like, listen, I think, we obviously have grown apart. It hurt me when you guys didn't support my relationship when we first started dating. Obviously, you guys know we lost touch because of that, and I distanced myself from you because you didn't support me. I've always valued the fact that you guys have been outspoken people, but I also have valued people who can be supportive and make me feel like they support my choices. Because while I'm glad that you're outspoken, I'm at the point in my life where I just want friends who ultimately will support me, are there for me when I need them, but in the meantime are just supportive of my choices and happy to help when I ask for help. And right now, and you guys seem really resistant to that, to the point where not only do you not do that, you make me feel judged for my choices, and you make me feel like you're not happy for me, and I don't enjoy your company anymore.
Basically.
And like, here's the thing. It's like we talked about this with a different caller, like, you'll be the bad guy. It's fine.
Right. 100% too.
Yeah, and you can't avoid that. So,
no.
Like, you might as well just tell them how you feel. Like, if there's a small chance that you're still hoping to salvage this friendship, then you can try to say it you could try to, without uninviting them, to say, it really bothered me you did this. I don't know why you guys keep doing this. It clearly has created a distance in our friendship, and it just makes me not want to be around you guys. If they respond with the same, I don't know what you're talking about, this is who we are, then you say, I assumed you might say something like that. And honestly, I'm like, as people, I love you and I wish you nothing but the best. And I just don't see the point of us being in each other's lives anymore because this is a boundary I'm setting for myself. You guys don't want to respect it. And that's fine. Like, I'm not mad, but I don't think we need to be in each other's lives. And just maybe like do that rather than being like, I'm not inviting you to my wedding. Because
I definitely didn't want to do
not being in each other's lives
implies what you need to imply.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree. And I feel like I didn't want to just kind of bring it up randomly, like just randomly text. Because they text here and there being like, hey, I'm home, want to do something. And I'm like, no, not really. And I don't want to be like, hey, like, I'm good. I feel like the conversation's going to come up when they realize that they're not getting a save the date or they're not getting an invite. Do I just bring it up then I just don't know how or when, I guess, to go about it.
I think you bring it up now. I mean, I think there's no bad way, right? But like, I think if you wait for them to figure it out, it becomes more about not being invited to the wedding. And I think they have a way of making you seem like the bad guy. I mean, either way, you're going to be the bad guy, but they can make it about the wedding. She didn't invite me to a wedding. Oh, she's trying to save money, or he didn't invite us, or whatever excuse they want to come up with. And I think if you reach out now, I think you're more in control of the conversation. They're not just responding to not being invited. You're reaching out preemptively to say, listen, it really hurt me that you did this, blah, 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 blah. It's upsetting me. I've always, I miss the friendship that we have, but what I don't miss is constantly feeling judged and criticized by you guys and not supported every time I'm around you. See what they say. They're probably going to say what you imagine them to say. And then you say, well, yeah, I assumed you would say that because you've always done that. And that's hurtful. But at the end of the day, I guess I'm reaching out because it hopes that you would say something different, but you haven't. And I think I needed to reach out to let you know that maybe we shouldn't just be in each other. We shouldn't be in each other's lives.
Do I block, delete, or anything afterwards? Do I just kind of let it be?
I mean, you block if you think it's necessary, if they're harassing you. And
Right.
my guess is probably it won't be necessary.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. One of them is iffier, I guess. It would probably publicly display something because she's that type of person.
What do you mean?
Other one now, just how she handles past relationships. She kind of puts
She'll probably put out some petty Facebook
something
posts or
on
something.
blast. Even tagging. She's done that.
Tagging what? What would she tag?
Tagging a person. She's an ex, a past friend, being with some of those stupid quotes on Instagram you find being this is you. You're disgusting.
Being the worst people who hurt you are the ones who said they would help you.
And full blown will tag the person and just
It's kind of funny.
It's a little bit iconic.
It is. But
she's gonna do. I just don't think you need to block her.
Okay.
I don't think we need to preemptively block.
No.
See what
No, I
happens.
won't do
But
that.
yeah.
But doesn't sound like an awesome person. And if you know she's gonna do it, then when she does it, you're not surprised. It's whatever. I don't think there's a super wrong answer, but I think you're in more control by doing it preemptively and not them focusing on not getting the invite. And then you can better articulate why you are removing themselves from your life.
And question if they do respond in a different way, basically being I'm so sorry, I didn't know this.
Well, then you have a decision to make. You can say, well, thank you for finally recognizing that. It means a lot. I do miss what we had. I just don't miss what we have. And what we have is you guys being unsupportive friends that you put me down.
That's exactly what it is. So.
I'm who wants that? I can be a judgmental, opinionated person. But if someone tells me that I'm doing this, I would respond and I'm sorry. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. You're right. This is a beautiful place. I shouldn't be so judgmental. But if they can't do that, then what the fuck, And
I'm all for the opinionated do your thing. That's totally fine. And I have other friends like that. Love them with my whole heart. But it's just the whole
and bite your fucking tongue. Yeah.
Be supportive. Just say congrats. Happy for you. Move on and done. But
yeah, I would do that. Well, let us know what you decide, and then let us know what the response was.
Absolutely. I will send in texts if it happens over that.
Congratulations on love and
Thank you.
your engagement. You have an incredible Christmas tree back there.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknick@castme.com, cast with a K. We'll see you back on Wednesday for freestyle and Thursday for going deeper. Have a great day. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Tuesday Bachelor recaps and Wednesday celebrity and expert interviews. See you next time.